Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. This week I have on Rossi, who is a yoga teacher as well as a entrepreneur helping others to really find their passion and just go out there and just work on the thing that they want to be working on. So Rossi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Can you just give my listeners a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and sort of dive into your journey to get to this point?
Sounds good. Again, my name is Rossi, and by my accent, you can recognize that I'm from Texas. Just kidding. I'm from Bulgaria, and it's a small country in the Mediterranean, a little bit north region, so in the Black Sea. So what we are known about is being very straightforward people. And I have carried that throughout all my life. And often I have been told that I'm pushy and bossy and all the things. So I decided to own it. And now I'm known as Bossy Rossi. So just a little bit about me. And just so you know that I'm not yelling at you. It's just the way that I talk. So I began on my yoga journey really early when I was about 17 because of a loss of my loved one. And I like to think that yoga discovered me. And as the years progressed, I was one of those people that was kind of lost. Like I didn't know what I want to do. I wanted to do this and that, and I couldn't see myself sitting 9 to 5 behind a desk. No offense to those of you who do that for a living. We all have our place. So, but that was not me. So I had to reinvent myself and refigure out who I am as productive part of the society, as well as what is driving me, what makes me wake up in the morning and want to do the things, and how can I implement that and also monetize it, right? Because finding your passion is great, but also we have a saying in Bulgaria, the cheese in the store costs money. So we do have to make some living one way or another. And it's easier when you make living from what you love. When you don't feel like, oh, no, I have to do this. And so after I took my first yoga training in 2014, I kept on that internal self-exploration path of who I am and how do I want to proceed in life. And I went through a couple of different routes. I even did the MLM for a little bit. I love the company. I don't like the sales mojo, so it wasn't me. I had to leave that behind me. But I discovered more likely that my true passion is really helping others. And so I start mentoring new yoga teachers, and I'm coaching people and helping them discover what they're passionate about, or going through the process that I did in their own way, so they can discover what really moves them underneath. So this is where I am now. I do energy healing. I do traditional body work, and many other things, like little things in life that before I thought that I will have to concentrate on this one thing only. And it turned out I don't have to. I'm not a brain surgeon. I don't have to concentrate in one thing. I can do all these different things that I like all together.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that I've definitely had to find out, sort of learn about because right now, I mean, I do a number of things and they're not in the same industry. They're all different, sort of areas of life, but they're all something I'm passionate about. So it's not like I'm just doing things just to do things, which is so amazing. I want to sort of ask you about what was that? Was there ever a switch where you're like, oh, I should start doing something that I actually enjoy, that I actually love to do? That way I can be sort of happier in life.
I guess I have always had that. I've been to many interviews in the past and places, and and then I can convince somebody to hire me. It's easy for me to show them I am passionate about this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put 100%, and I'm a hard worker, so I will. But internally, I'll struggle. I'll suffer, and like that's not what I want to do for life. I will continue to come back to. I don't want to go back to work for this. And so I think I've always knew that those things are temporary and they're just a means to an end. Finding out how, in the meantime, what I'm passionate about, I just didn't really call it that.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily looking for something I was passionate about, but I was always approaching a job like, can I wake up tomorrow and still want to do this job?
Mm.
And if not, then what's the goal? Like, what am I doing here? Am I paying my rent today? Is that why I'm going to work today, or am I doing something more? Is this like what I really want to do? Even if sometimes the things that we're passionate about are not very profitable to begin with. And so when I first began my after I finished my yoga training, um, I was asked to help other new teachers to develop themselves or to mentor them. And so that's how I more discovered that the one job that I really like to do is actually I'm not getting paid for. Was that mentorship that I just did voluntarily because I wanted to help those people grow. I'm like, why do I keep waking up every day and going and doing that even for an hour a day, not every day, but an hour, let's say a couple of hours a week,
Mm.
I'm doing this with so much passion and so much like I really want to be there. I don't want to lose this, even though I'm not getting paid for. And I was like, maybe this is really what I want to do. I've always had an internal need to help others, and I volunteer quite a bit as well. Um, but um, but that was more uh, of a channeling all that into one and be like, this is something that I can really actually explore and become more aware of and do more intentionally. So it's not always free. I can still offer free advice, free help. I'm still mentoring groups every week, one for a couple of hours for
Mhm.
free. But I also am monetizing that now. I developed that skill to um, to acknowledge that
Yeah, that's so
first
important.
part.
I think a lot of the time, yeah, I think a lot of the time, when people, find something they love to do, they're like, oh, I have to do it for free the rest of my life because, it's just a side thing. It's not going to provide me with, sort of the monetary value that other things would. Like, that's not true at all. Like you can easily, scale something in order for it to provide you with the salary that, sustains you for life. And I want to know sort of like,
Agreed.
what was your experience when you started to monetize these things and this coaching part, and like how did you sort of get over the hump of like, oh, like I am actually like, I actually have the knowledge to coach these people. I actually am, sort of good enough in the sense that they want me to be their coach.
It was not easy. As you said, you can easily switch and make money, but it's not really easy. You do have to put some work in whatever it is that you're doing, and you also have to have that a little bit of sense of um, my job, my work, this work that I'm putting in does matter and it is important. And if it wasn't important, people wouldn't take it. They wouldn't use it. They would
Mhm.
just not be there for that service. Correct. So there is a need of what you're doing, and um, and it takes a little bit of internal belief and sometimes uh, like pushing yourself past the disbelief that it's not important and it doesn't matter. And it does help to have good group of people around you that can help you build that confidence if you don't have it.
Mm.
And there's some of us who are born internally with that or maybe they grew up in an environment that was very nurturing and helped them to really have that confidence. And there are a lot of us who don't. And I was not one of those naturally confident people. I appear very confident, but I have a lot of doubts. And it's constant battle in my head. It's like, mm, who are you to
Yeah.
think that you can do this? Why would you be so important that people will seek you? And I think that volunteering to support those new yoga teachers really helped me build that internal belief that actually what I do matters. From their testimonials, I took a lot of empowerment to what I really do, and that they have taught me, and my students as well as a yoga teacher have given me every now and again this little bits and pieces that like what you said in this class really changed my life. And I'm like, oh my God, because what I said in that class was I always share things from my heart and from my experience. So they're very personal, and becoming vulnerable for them really help
Mhm.
them move forward. And if you know Bulgarians, we're not very naturally um, vulnerable people that we keep that um, be seen. We're strong. We have to move forward. We have to succeed. We have to do this and that. Um, and uh, and we don't have to be so tough to or appear so tough in order to succeed.
Mhm.
What we just need to do is ourselves. So it helped me a lot, those testimonials from people who are already mentoring and teaching a good group of people, a good community that I have stumbled upon, and um, and really continuing to self study, looking internally, and keep making sure that does that still make me happy? Is this is this still what I want to do?
Yeah, I love that. That's powerful. What is sort of your biggest tip for those who are really trying to find something that they love to do, but they're really just they're, right now they're just struggling with that?
I think a lot of us have different ways of getting that aha moment. Part of it is really looking inward and being honest with yourself.
Mhm.
In yoga, there is a term, it's called satya, that means truthfulness. And it comes right after a word, ahimsa, that means do no harm. And so when you're truthful to yourself, but you're not punishing yourself for your honesty and for your exploration and continue finding a place of growth, whether it is reading a book today, maybe that book is not absolutely related to anything you're going to do in the future, but it may still help you find some little um, some little breakthrough in whatever it is that you're doing throughout the day. So I would say self study is really really important for finding who you want to be and how you want to go through life. What is important for you? What are your core values? And there are tons of workshops out there to find your core values, to build your own brand, and all the things. And all of them, in their essence, are trying to ask you to dig deep and find those like couple of words that keep coming up for you, that keep moving you. I like to take some of those courses every now and again, and sometimes I get stuck in the very beginning. Uh, a lot of them start with make your 20-year goal, and then go back to your 10-year goal, and then go back to your 5-year goal. And that's like very broad for me. I like to go from the other way around and be have things more tangible in the next year. And I discovered that doing a lot of those courses. So I wasn't born with that knowledge that that's my way of doing things. I discovered that on the way while I was doing all the other things, like taking those courses. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying it's another way of doing things.
Mhm.
I don't think there is really a wrong and right way to discover who you are. Um, But the more you self-study, the more you know how you like to learn, how you perceive things, what works for you and what doesn't. And you can only achieve that if you're really honest with yourself. Um, and being honest with yourself is really hard often. I don't know if you know, but we like to lie to ourselves a lot. And so I like to tell the story every now and again because it's really true. I've been in Colorado for 15 years, give and take. And I kept saying that I want to be a snowboarder. I want to be a snowboarder. I want to be a snowboarder. 15 years later, I have not been one time snowboarding. I've been like handful of times skiing. I don't like the cold. And you were like, why do you live in Colorado? Actually, Colorado is warm most of the time. Even in the winter right now, it's pretty nice out, even though the streets are icy. So I do love Colorado for all those reasons. But I guess I don't really want to snowboard that much. I'm just saying it. And I have this vision in my head that, oh, that's cool. It's got like badass or whatever my brain and my ego likes to connect it with. Uh, but the fact is, I still haven't been snowboarding once, and I've had opportunities, so it's not like I didn't. Um, so once you're honest with yourself, like maybe one day I'll snowboard, but it's not in my 1 year. Like I really need to do this bucket list, and so sit down and writing things down that are like, what is immediately possible for me? Am I if you are a yoga teacher, certified yoga teacher, am I connected with this teaching? Do I really want to continue on that path and become a yoga teacher of teachers? Can I lead yoga teacher training? Do I want to do that? Do I do I feel? And I know everybody has something to offer. So if you're telling yourself, I have nothing to offer, it's not true. You do have something to offer. All you need to do is just keep thinking of what really makes me happy. And sometimes people around you would give you a hint. People would always call me a leader, or a bossy person, which, it depends. If I was a man, I was going to be very ambitious. But since I'm a woman, I'm bossy. So, and really own your personality, who you are, and find out that sometimes those things that we perceive as um, that they are negative are actually now really negative. They can work for us. My stubbornness has really brought me where I am. And my teacher says, if your vice works for you still, keep it. Yeah. Until it doesn't. So just sit down, be honest with yourself, write down some words that resonate. I have the greatest dictionary where I like to go and search for words that that resonate with me more than other words. So you can really discover what your core values are, what is making you move, what are your love languages. There is a great test on the 5 love languages if you have never heard of them, just so you know what moves you, what makes you internally like who you are, underneath all the layers and the labels that we like to put on ourselves.
Yeah, that is a wonderful practice to do. And I feel like that is the best sort of like starting out tip, because it's really, passion is all about like who you are and what you want to achieve in your life. And I think that, finding out, sort of your core values and sort of what you're made of is the best first step to take. Before we roll into the final question of the podcast, I want you to let people know where they can find you on the web and on social and all the things.
So good. So I am teaching currently at the River Yoga. You can find me on their schedule. I also teach from home as well. So how you can find me is if you go to my website, rossi-v.com, you'll find a calendar with where you can find me pretty much on the daily, on the regular. And you can find also a lot of my offerings, such as workshops and other events. and teacher trainings if you're a yoga teacher. I also do continuing yoga education. On social media, you can find me under Bossy Rossi Yoga, both Instagram and Facebook. And over there, you can also find all the offerings. I have links inside of the my profiles as well. And if you're interested in setting up new intentions for the year, I'm leading both in-person and virtual workshop retreat on the 2nd of January, where we're going to explore a little bit of that, how to set up our intention for the next year so we don't have this 300 goals that we never get around to do in the end of the year. Like, oh, I have like 3 days and finish 105 things. So we're going to set one intention to keep us moving throughout the year, something that is really personal for you. So if you're interested, you can sign up for that on my bio as well.
Yeah. And all of her links will be down below, so do not worry. Go check out the show notes. I want to roll into the final question of the podcast, which is the question that I've asked every single guest who has ever been on. So based off of the title of this podcast, which is Fashion Your Passion, what is one tip that you would give those who are dreaming based off of how you have fashioned your passion?
It's tough for me to summarize this in short, but if I have to give you one thing, it will be authentic to who you are. Mm-hmm. Who you are is the only thing that nobody else can be. You can be yourself the way you are. You can be successful with everything you already have. All you need to do is unpeel the layers. So be authentic to you, and things will fall into place.
Absolutely. I love that so much. Rossi, thank you so much for coming on the show today. For those who are listening, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and screenshot you listening to the episode, post on your Instagram story, and tag us, and let us know one thing that you learned from this episode. And I will talk to you guys next week.